So when we hear trauma and we talk about responses, I just want to go a little bit into what does that look like, Nicole? So fight, it says the sympathetic NS. What is that, Nicole? So we have an autonomic nervous system, automatically, doesn't ask you, right? But we have two sides. You have a sympathetic nervous system, which is that's part of those chemicals getting released that say we have to fight this thing or we have to flight. So we like to call it the activating side of the nervous system. So sympathetic, I like to think of S, sympathetic for save yourself. Okay, S is save yourself, all right? And so what that looks like is what does the body have to turn into to do that? Do I need to fight? Okay, so what happens is you get the right hormones and the neurotransmitters start to feed off and I become irritable. I use anger because anger is I don't know if any of you got angered and cleaned. If you've ever gotten angry and cleaned out something, you know what I'm talking about. Anger is very, very, very efficient and productive, okay? Aggression, right? Maybe I'm just aggressive because I'm trying to, again, there's a perceived threat in the environment. Maybe you're threatening my confidence. Maybe you're threatening my money. Maybe you're threatening what's going on with me. Okay, and then you're gonna move toward it with fight. Fight is what did you say to me? And you're moving in, right? You're moving in. Sorry, I have cats, and another cat was messing with my cat, and my fight. I was ready to fight that other cat. Now there's flight. So that's also the sympathetic nervous system because we're active. Sympathetic, save yourself. So save yourself means I got to get active. And that's where we get the anxiety and fear because guess what? When we start to feel the symptoms of anxiousness and anxiety, it helps us avoid. And if you're avoiding, that means you're getting away from something, So anxiety and fear, you might have panic, right? Okay, I got to do this thing. And again, panic will encourage you to get away, avoiding, chronic worry, and perfectionism. And you think, what do you mean? Like, Nicole, so this is a stress response? Well, perfectionism can look like wanting to get it just so to avoid criticism, to avoid looking a certain way. And chronic worry is the feeling, well, I'm doing something about it. And if I worry, if I put my attention on this thing and I worry about this thing, I'm doing something about it in an attempt to avoid it going bad, in an attempt to, I have to think about what could go wrong because even though you're saying you don't want it to go wrong, the feeling is stressful. And so if I worry, that gives my brain something to do. So a lot of people, unfortunately, we get habituated and we use worry to avoid feeling that thing. And even though worry doesn't feel good, what do you mean, Nicole? Why would I pick that? Even though worry and perfectionism sometimes don't feel good, they're active. You're doing something, okay? So that's that sympathetic nervous system. The other responses is freeze, okay? Now that's called parasympathetic. And parasympathetic is a freeze of our initial instinct. Way back. So the brainstem, the reactive brain is to just stay still because out in the wild, the hope is if you're moving along, you're this little turtle, okay, and something comes along, a threat, you can pull your head in and your legs in and freeze. And the hope is that this tiger just doesn't want to get that shell and you don't come out now, stay in there, freeze. As long as you don't come out, the tiger might go, I can't get it. And the tiger goes away. So that is the evolutionary and the beauty of freeze. It doesn't feel good. Okay. I'm not saying any of these things necessarily feel good, but I'm telling you that they're natural biological responses. So you might feel stuck, collapse. Some people faint in freeze. I had a client who, when she went to go get blood work, she would faint. And we linked it back to when she was a child. And she had some type of, I can't think of exactly what it was, where she had to get blood work done all the time. And they kind of had to hold her down and give her shots and get her blood. That was traumatic for her. So her body, anytime she went to go get a shot, anytime she went to go get blood work, she would faint. And once I helped her understand that this is a biological response, once I helped her understand that, because she said, Nicole, I'm in my 40s. I don't want to be doing this. And she was having a procedure coming up. Then we looked at how the body and the brain had wired the event and how it was attempting to protect her. And once she had compassion for it trying to protect her, she no longer had what we call shame about that down at the bottom of freeze. And so freeze is what you see with depression. So anxiety is going to be in that sympathetic, it's active, and depression is going to be down in that freeze. Okay, spacing out, losing track of time, not having energy for the things you do. Again, freeze from a evolutionary biological stance is if I stay still, the threat will not either see me or perceive me as essentially not being alive and therefore not worthy, not valuable. Okay, so just like that golden Buddha, you have your body releasing these things to cover your goldenness so that the perceived threat doesn't take over. One that people don't know about is fawn. Okay, and fawning is people pleasing, avoiding conflict, prioritizing others' needs over your own, difficulty saying no, and setting boundaries is hard. And so people say, fawning, Nicole, tell me more about this. And so what that looks like is, hey, if I can't get out of the situation, I have to be here for whatever reason. I can't panic. I can't freak out. I don't space out. The brain and body have figured out, well, if I just go along with it, I can avoid conflict. Okay. And if I just put your needs above my own, then I can, maybe this threat won't come and get me. Okay. So it's, I'm going to be late, Nicole. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Or people pleasing because we're so focused on the outside person to make everything all right. And that's a result of stress. I want to understand that mental health is all kind of impacted by stress. The stress of either not getting heard, the stress of not being able to tell somebody how you're really feeling. And so inside your body feels that. And so it has to have a response to that, right? It's kind of like your car. Everything in your car has a purpose. You would never see the check engine light in your car and say, oh, that's stupid. But yet when we feel these things in our body, we try to, no, can't have that. Not, if something says check your oil, if something says your tires are irregular, we check it out. And so I'm hoping that you all start to check it out.